Hello there, Jill Wotton here, founder of Change Your Thoughts, Change Your Life and founder of the Within Sight Training Academy, and welcome back. Now today I'm going to share with you a really fabulous tip to lift your emotions. There are times, aren't there, when we all feel a little bit down, we always feel a little bit despondent or disappointed about an event, something that's happened, and the way that we absorb it into ourselves and think about it, we can sort of really lower the way that we feel, lower our mood. But I'm going to show you how you can use this tip to really pump up a good feeling vibration, how you can get yourself feeling much more optimistic, how you can get yourself feeling much more energized and positive about the situation or the surrounding events. Now this tip I use with myself and my clients. Surprised that I use it too? Don't be. Do you know what? Even as life coaches need a little bit of help, and we all use the skills that we share with you. And so I'm going to share this really fab tip with you right now. Today we're going to be looking at the way that we think and the biases it can bring. Are you tending to be more of an optimistic person or tending to be more of a pessimistic person? So we're going to have a look at this chart, which was devised originally by a guy called Martin Seligman. And what he did back, oh God, it was about 25 years ago now, he, under the request of some really big companies in America, insurance companies, they wanted him to come up with some sort of solution, some sort of line of inquiry that they could use when they were employing people in what would now be known as call centres. They had a real rapid turnover of people. They found that even though sometimes people presented really well in the interview, then they'd get on the job and within a day or two they'd be not wanting to pick up the phone, or they'd be, taking a few too many cigarette breaks or too many coffee breaks, and really kind of like not wanting to go near the phone. And then within a very short space of time, all that money they'd spent and time on the interviewing and getting these guys on the line was just really wasted, because they weren't actually able to fulfill the job because they didn't have that stamina. So what happened was Martin Seligman interviewed and did loads and loads of research, clinical research, and he came up with this. And he found that there were three main areas of thinking which alerted the employers to whether somebody was more of an optimistic person or more of a pessimistic person. Now this was very important, because if you're in a call centre and you're on the phone and someone's rude to you and says, "Oh, don't want your product," and put the phone down, if that happens once, it's okay, yeah? But when it kept happening time and time again, you needed someone to be able to say, "I can still do it, that's okay, it's not personal," just have that sense of being able to lift themselves up from that situation or that disappointment and just carry on, even though they'd had a little bit of a negative response to their call. Whereas a pessimistic person would take it personally, not feel great, and just not want to carry on with the process. So this is what he found. He found that there were these areas where people made decisions about the events in their life, and they can be categorized in, the first way is internal and external, and I'll explain what that means in just a moment. So if something bad happens, somebody who has more of a tendency to get despondent and down on themselves will explain it in an internal way. So say for instance somebody didn't get their exams or didn't pass their driving test, or a friend didn't call them when they said they would say, "What's wrong with me?" So if it was they didn't pass their exams, it'll be, "I'm thick, I'm useless." I'm not saying that about me, by the way. But so they'd blame it on themselves. They'd have an internal explanatory style. Whereas somebody who maybe didn't get their exams, or a friend didn't phone, they would look for more external reasons as to why that would happen. It might be, "Oh, I know my friend had so much on that night, she had to pick up the kids, her husband's not very well." So they would look at other reasons. They might say, do you know what, I kind of worked really hard, and that exam is quite hard. It's known as a tough exam, and I'll you know, it's not down to, I did the best I could. So they would look at external reasons and not blame themselves. Now, the second area which influences whether you or I are more optimistic or pessimistic is whether we regard something, a bad event, as stable or unstable. Are you reading my writing here? Getting a thumbs up from the lady who's running the camera here. They say I should have been a doctor, actually, the way that my writing, but anyway, glad you're reading it. So, if something bad happens, they regard it as a stable event, like it's always going to be like this. Okay, so for instance, let's take the example again, when you don't pass your test, it's like, no point in me trying again because I won't ever get it. If maybe you get dumped by a lover, someone you like, and you say to yourself, oh, I'm no good with men, I'm no good with women, I'm not attractive, I'm not as pretty as, etc., etc. And it's all about yourself and the negative bias that you have towards yourself. However, if someone has more of a pessimistic bias, an optimistic bias, which is what we're wanting, we see it as more of an unstable thing. So it would be, well, do you know, he did, you know, I have just been dumped, oh dear, you know, feel really sad about it right now, but you know, I'll get over it. Give me another week and a few days, and back to work tomorrow, seeing friends later today, and I'll gradually get over it. Forgive me for putting this in, if people have been through that experience and are feeling really rotten. I'm trying to put it in a really, really similar way so we can get the broad brushstroke of these explanatory styles, okay? And then the last one, so we've got internal and external, stable and unstable, and then we've got what we call global and specific. So what we mean here is that here we're looking at the fact that in terms of a timeline, it's going to affect everything. When something bad happens to somebody who has a bit more of a pessimistic bias, what happens is that they think it's going to affect everything else now. Not just in terms of the timeline and the future, but now. So if, say, you go into work and you go to a meeting and it doesn't go particularly well, okay? So you come out of that meeting. Now, if you were quite an optimistic person, you'd be thinking that that bad event was contained between the hours of the meeting. Now, it might be that you didn't get it quite right. And you maybe think, well, do you know, I didn't get it quite right, but okay, so I just need to do that, and that will help the situation. Or it might be that somebody had just got a bit of a grump on that day, and that you just got the end of it. And it might be that, oh, thank God I'm out of that meeting, and carry on with other things. Looking forward to seeing my friends at lunchtime, looking forward to going to the gym that evening, seeing boyfriend later on that day. Whatever it is, you see it as a contained event. Now, people with a more pessimistic bias see it as affecting everything else. So they'll come out of the meeting and their internal rumination will be something like this. They will say, there's no point in me going out tonight because I won't enjoy it. They will say, oh, no point in going to the gym, might as well go home and have a beer or something. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but no point in me going to the gym, or no point in doing anything good because it will always go wrong. So the fact that they don't feel great now, they allow it to spread like ripples in a pond, and it affects everything that day. So people who have more of this explanatory style will be going home at the end of the day, even if something happened 8 to 10 hours beforehand, they're going to go home feeling rubbish. And they're going to feel rubbish even though their loved ones around them haven't had anything to do with what happened earlier in the day. Bit of a recipe for disaster there, don't you think? So let me just summarise that just once more. So if you want to have more of an optimistic style of thinking, and remember, our thoughts are the very potent creative force in the universe. They have the potential to make us feel absolutely amazing and draw amazing things to our lives and create really transformational situations, very happy times. Or they have the power to make us feel rubbish, lower our immune system and bring more of not so great things to us. I know which one I want, okay? So if you want more of an optimistic bias to the way that you think, and then to be able to allow that to infiltrate in a really amazing way into your life, what we have to do is, if something bad happens, look at the external factors. Now, I'm not saying that you never get it wrong, okay? I do. And we take ownership for that. But you look at the bigger picture. You know, it was a hard exam. That was tough. I did do my best. And yeah, I didn't quite get the grades I want. But, you know, that's known to be tough. Yeah? So look at the wider picture. When something not great happens, think about the future. Yeah, it's not feeling great right now, but you know, you can retake that exam, you can reapply for that job, you can, you know, go on a different dating agency, find another date. That things will change in the future. It won't always be the result that you have right now, won't be the result that you maybe get tonight, tomorrow, or in months to come. And in terms of when we look at global and specific, naturally optimistic people, if something not so great happens, keep it in a time-bound way. Do you know, this has happened right now, but I'm so looking forward to seeing my girlfriends, my boyfriends, my mum and dad. I'm looking forward to going to the gym because that will cheer me up and make me feel better. So, optimistic people look at the bigger picture and explain things externally. They see that bad thing is unstable and that it's not always going to be like it's going to change in the future. And they know that they can do things that are apart from that situation, which will give them a good feeling and put them in a better feeling place. Hope you've enjoyed it. Pop your comments below and speak to you soon.